Let's begin. I'm Penrose776. As you can see, there's a new Heroes banner. I don't know who's on it, but last time it was babies. The babies sold really well. I'm expecting more babies. Let's see who it is. Yep, that looks like a child. A whole child. Who is that? Tana. Okay, so it's a Sacred Stones banner. She's a Lance Flyer. Oh, we're on the map. That's a lot of movement. Don't normally see the map. Let's pause on these skills. Lance of Frelia. 16 might, PRF, Lance, accelerate special trigger, cooldown count -1. Unit can move to a space within 2 spaces of an ally within 2 spaces. That's similar to Halloween Noe's PRF, which is just an absurd amount of movement. It's 4 movement so long as there's an ally there to help. That's more than a horse. And you can do things like hop over buildings with it. Sure, why not? At start of combat, if unit's HP is greater than or equal to 25%, grants attack speed +6 to unit, similar to Swift Sparrow level of attack there. And also, if unit initiates combat, grants defense res +10 during combat. That is chunky stats. Big numbers on those stats. Draconic Aura. Steady Impact. If unit initiates combat, grants speed +7, defense +10. Great to have another source of this that isn't... No, this is a seasonal unit. Forget what I was just about to say. But something new here. SD Near Trace Free. Enables Kanto Rem +1. What's Rem? Inflicts speed defense -3 on foe during combat. Okay, so SD is speed defense. Kanto Rem +1. After an attack, assist skill, or structure destruction, the unit can move spaces equal to any movement not already used that turn +1. If unit used a movement skill that warped from its remaining movement is 0. So Rem, I assume, is remaining. This is a Kanto B-slot skill, an inheritable Kanto B-slot skill, the first source of Kanto that's not on someone's PRF. And it works a lot more like Kanto has traditionally worked in Fire Emblem, where the distance you get to move after you attack is based on how far you'd already moved. +1 in this case, so even if you're using your max movement to go in and whack something, you can still take a step back or step forward if you've killed them. And it has a stat effect on it as well, similar to a lull, so unless the enemy is using buffs, you're not even losing out compared to a lull. Oh, this is on a flyer. Flyers can't use lulls. The remaining movement counting as 0 means it's kind of not particularly synergetic with Tana's weapon here. You're getting a large amount of movement out, 4 whole spaces out if you want to, but then you're only going to be able to move 1 back. Still, very strong skill, and a good alternative for flyers who traditionally have not had strong options for their B-slot. Since it's near trace, I assume it's only going to be for melee flyers, but still, solid. And attack speed Rhine-free. There's a lot of sources of this, but it is something good to have. And together with the defense res +10 from the weapon, this is setting Tana up to be a very tanky unit. I'd like to add also, following the tradition of these child banners, this Tana stronger than her adult version. Sure, why not? Let's see here. Yeah, that +20 defense on initiation. Nuts. And 29, 23 for the stat line, so that's effectively, what, 39, 33, just taking into account the... Oh! La Rochelle! This is the best unit in Sacred Stones. I won't hear any disagreement. Sadly, we can't simp for her. She is a child. Repeat after me, don't simp for kids. But let's look at these skills. She is a staff cavalry unit, and that is the Staff of Rouston. Calculates damage from staff like other weapons. At start of combat, inflicts res -6 and stays preventing counterattacks on closest foes within 5 spaces of unit through their next actions. If unit initiates combat, grants attack speed +6 during combat. Preventing counterattacks. Since it's applied to foes within 5 spaces, that basically means that if someone decides to end turn within La Rochelle's range, you're immediately putting that flash effect on them at the start of your turn. That's huge. That's immense. It's not really particularly impactful for La Rochelle herself because staff units have always been able to use Dazzling Staff to get around that. But unlike Dazzling Staff, this is applying a status on the enemy, meaning that status works for your entire team during their phase. You can pair her up with, well, just about any offensive unit in the game, and they can also benefit from that flash effect. And there's not very many sources of it. Obviously, Flash for Staff, Kempf, who is a very strong anti-meta unit already, and Rajat, who could be a very strong anti-meta unit if anyone had actually built her. But the difference between La Rochelle here and all of those units is La Rochelle doesn't need to attack to proc that. La Rochelle just puts it on at the start of the turn. And also, La Rochelle looks like they're being pitched as a strong offensive cav staff in general with that attack speed +6. So, honestly, I think a really good addition to the metagame here. For the assist, Rescue Plus. This is the same skill that Flame has. It's good to have another source of it, although again, this is a seasonal unit, so make of that what you will. Windfire Balm Plus, okay. Attack speed push 4, so again, they're pushing that highly offensive attack speed cavalry staff build. And Speed Res Far Trace 3. Oh! Enables Canto, Rem, and inflicts Speed Res -3 on foe during combat. So unlike the near version of this skill, the Canto is only for your remaining movement, rather than your remaining movement +1. I guess that's how they're differentiating these, and that is fair, because otherwise, if they had remaining movement +1, your ranged cavalry units would be kind of absurd, honestly. But this confirms that these trace skills are going to be usable by cavalry units as well. Which, honestly, I'm thinking right now, if you're dancing a cavalry unit in Aether Raids, right? If a cavalry unit moves 3 spaces, how are you going to catch up with that? Previously, you've required a Tempest skill, or Tempest, even Tempest. Okay, that requires very expensive fodder, and only works on half turns. What about a free move dancer? Well, there's only one of those in the entire game, so you'd better have rolled them, or else you're out of luck. And then the third option is something like Escape Route, or more likely, Wings of Mercy. But that requires hitting a specific health range. You can't Wings of Mercy to someone using Wind Sweep or that sort of effect, because they just won't be at a low enough health, and there's always a risk that if you're trying to get your cav unit low deliberately, they just die. But now, if you put Near Trace on a melee cav, they run out 3 spaces, hit someone, and then Canto takes effect, and they'll move back 1 space, putting them in range to be danced. Far Trace, slightly less utility on that front, but still seems like a very strong skill. Your ranged cavalry units can hit something, and then they can get themselves out of trouble. Definitely a valuable addition to the game, and again, cav units usually run lulls in their B slot because there's not a lot of great options for the B slot that's not a lull. This has the same effect on stats as lull, just without the buff negation, so it's a solid option for any cav units you might be running. And as a last note, we're now 2 for 2 on these children being stronger than their adult versions. Still. Let's see what's going on here. 48 damage. Yeah. Yeah, 51 attack, 38 speed. That's a very good speed stat, especially considering the buffs. And, ooh, Child Leon? I still don't actually know how to pronounce this. He's in the 3rd slot, so he's going to be the demote. Let's take a look at this kit. Tome of Grado. Hey, unlike some demotes, he actually gets a PRF weapon, so that's already a great start. Grants attack +3. If foe initiates combat, or if foe's HP is 100% at start of combat, inflicts attack res -6 on foe and neutralizes units' penalties to attack res during combat. Okay, that's a conditional lull with beefed up numbers on it. Great start. And also, if your foe is colorless and uses bow, dagger, magic, or staff, grants weapon triangle advantage to unit and inflicts weapon triangle disadvantage on foe during combat. So this is kind of a Raven Tome and a Lull, a Super Lull, strapped together. It's a solid PRF, honestly, especially considering that, at least compared to other seasonal units, this guy's going to be a bit easier to +10. Iceberg, okay. Attack res solo free. I don't think there's particularly many cheap sources for attack res solo free, so good to have that on a demote. And defense res gap free. Solid unit. Not really much to say about him, but he seems nice. Definitely a good demote.
I am a prince.
Oh, and that seems like a beefy res stat as well for that Iceberg. And, ooh, Refulgence. Good glossary word there. Erica and Ephraim. Interesting that Erica's the one leading this pair. And, oh, that is a wall of text. Love it. Let's read here. Accelerate special trigger. This is the Blade of Renee. If unit initiates combat or is within 2 spaces of an ally, grants attack speed, defense, res +5 to unit. Solid +5 to all stats. And also, if bonus or penalty is active on unit, so anything, really, deals damage equal to 20% of foe's defense. And also, there's 2 as alsos in this effect. That's a brilliant start. If unit deals damage to foe during combat, restores HP to unit equal to 20% of foe's defense. Triggers even if 0 damage is dealt. Ooh. Spicy effect. True damage, true healing. And add on that, slaying and a boost to all stats. It seems like a main tank sort of unit in the style of the classic infantry swords. Not exactly stacking defense, but rather using strong offense and healing to get through things. Luna, okay. Distant foil, well, it's a skill, alright. Not particularly a fan of distant foil because tomes, you would like to be able to hit them back. So probably swap that out for distant counter if you get the chance, but still, distant foil, not the worst skill in the game. Null follow-up free and joint drive speed. So I'm expecting a very fast unit here. Could potentially swap that null follow-up for one of the speed-based damage reduction skills, Repel, Close Call, Spurn. And they're a duo unit as well, so I expect to see a duo skill. But first, oh, good hit. What's this do? Grants dodge to unit and allies within 3 rows and 3 columns centered on unit. Dodge, new effect. Once used, duo skill cannot be activated again right away. At the start of odd-numbered turns, if duo skill has already been used, unit can use duo skill again. So it's a repeatable duo skill. Grants dodge in a pretty large area. What's dodge? If unit speed is greater than foe's speed, reduces damage from attacks during combat and from area of effect specials, excluding rock, by percentage equal to difference between stats times 4, max 40%. It is Close Call, Spurn, that same effect on the duo skill. So forget what I said. Don't invest those. Well, you can still invest those. Stack 2 of them. Why not? Big damage reduction. But also, unit and allies within 3 rows and 3 columns. It's a support skill as well. And it doesn't have a restriction on type. Normally, Spurn, Close Call, that only available on infantry. And, I mean, Freya has it on a PRF, but no one else has one. Who's not infantry, I don't think. So, suddenly, duo Erica here is a support for that whole archetype of fast units who are planning to take damage, maybe end turn and tank using speed, but could not run a speed-based damage reduction skill before. Again, that's really something quite spicy, I'd say. And this coming up on every odd-numbered turn, you've got really solid uptime on this as well. If you need to, you can drag out a fight and use it every turn you need it, more or less. Use it on turn 2 and it'll be up again turn 3. Definitely a really strong unit, again, worth rolling, I'd say, personally. And that means as well we're on 3 out of 4 for kids who are stronger than any of their adult counterparts. And I think this also should show their stats. Yeah, those are stats alright. Good spread of everything, really. 28 res is a little low, 30 defense good, and 43 speed, huge, is the main thing.
We can handle this.
Alright. It's going to be a paralog, of course. It's that sort of banner. And let's see who is... That's Inez, I'm pretty sure. 80% sure. I can't remember any other green-haired archers from Sacred Stones. Alright. Solid banner. Well, I don't think I have anything else much to say, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you all again in the next one. Penrost out.